Walk with me for a few minutes. So I want to talk about the new normal. Because whether we pause to realize it or not, we are in the middle of writing a new normal. And that's for sure. Let me ask you guys a question real quick. Give me some comments below of one thing you've done for the first time in your life during this crazy quarantine time. Real quick, any direction you want. You can make me laugh. You can make us smile. You can go serious. You can go inspirational. It's just got to be truth. Drop a comment below of one thing you've never done in your life that for the first time you've done during this quarantine time. I know there's a few in my household. And what's really interesting is not just the things that maybe I've done for the first time, but I'm sitting here getting fascinated by what is so quickly becoming the new normal for this time. You know, it's interesting that some of the things that are the new normal today are things that I haven't done in a long time, some of them forever. One of them is actually just staying home. Staying home is a totally new normal for me, maybe even more so than most. I think this might be the first time, since my early 20s that I've actually been home this amount of time, as in not traveling. A lot of you guys that have followed me over the years, you know, I keep a pretty hectic travel schedule. My friends were joking with me this week. They're like, Blake, is this the longest you've ever actually been at your house? And I'm like, yeah, you know, it really is. Probably since my early 20s. I think going on, 3 weeks at home? I haven't been home for 3 straight weeks for decades. That's like a totally new normal for me. Eating at the dinner table every night of the week with my family. Might sound strange. That's a totally new normal for me. Prior to this quarantine, Karis, my wife and I, my kids, we would eat out the majority of the evenings. So just actually eating dinner at home at the dinner table is a totally new normal. I can't tell you the last time that we've had this many consistent dinners with the family at the dinner table. It's a new normal for me. Obviously, from a business perspective, everything's shifted 100% to virtual, 100% to digital. Zoom is not a new normal. Been using Zoom for a long time, but using Zoom for every conversation, every collaboration all day long from the home office, that's definitely a new normal for me, and I'm sure many of us right now. You guys, what are some new normals for you that are happening today? Like things that, isn't it crazy just over a few short weeks, how fast that can become a new norm? It's good to see that people are maybe settling in a little bit, adjusting a little bit. We're out of that first initial shock and awe of what am I going to do? We're starting to get into a little bit of a routine, starting to flow to a new normal for today. What's interesting though is I'm still hearing comments from people that say, well, you know, hey, when this is over, you know, I look forward to getting back to this. Or, hey, well, you know, once we're through this, you know, I look forward to this happening. And when I hear those comments, I kind of have a pause and a thought in my head. Sometimes I say it, sometimes I don't, where I'm like, guys, I don't think there is a going back to the normal that was. And I don't mean that to be scary by any means or, you know, create fear by any means. I just think that what we're going through right now is going to make a lasting imprint in all of our lives, a lasting imprint in the world. I don't think, you know, on whatever date some governor, some politician, or some scientist says, hey, quarantine's off. I don't think it's boom, we're back to the way it once was. I don't think there is going back to what was normal. So the reason I'm talking about a new normal is I think a new normal isn't just about maybe how we're adjusting in these first couple weeks. I think where my mind is what's the new normal going to be when? And I'm just going to leave it at when, because I don't know when that is. I think what we're going through is going to make radical shifts for everybody. I think it's going to be an imprint in history for all of us. I'm looking at just like my son, Grayson, 4 years old, and I'm like, he's going to remember this. These may be actually some of his very first memories that he remembers. Some of my first memories are around the age I was that he is currently. So I'm wondering, are these some of his first memories that he's going to have? His memories of, logging on to his Zoom school this week. Try doing Zoom preschool with a bunch of 4-year-olds. And it not going so well, and him getting frustrated because he's like, Dad, I want to see my friends' entire bodies. That was the way he communicated. I want to see their entire body. Misses his friends. Told me the other day that it's like, I want to see Yaya. It's my mom, her Greek, so grandma's Yaya. I want to give her a real hug, because he's been doing the virtual hugs over the last couple weeks. So you guys, I think this is going to leave an imprint. So when I talk about a new normal, here's my question for you. What do we think the new normal is going to have and going to be? Here's what I think. I think right now, what we're going through, it's causing us to reevaluate what's really important, what we really value. How many of you are feeling that right now, that what we're going through, you're causing ourselves to reflect, maybe go inside or internal a little bit, and reevaluate what we truly value, what we truly is important to us. You see, I think we're going to go through a shift in consciousness, a shift in awareness, or one way to put it, a shift in values as we get through this together, as we grow through this together, as we overcome this together. And whenever that is, I think we're going to see a values shift. So I want to take a few minutes and maybe just project my hope on 5 values that I hope become part of the new norm. When? First thing I hope becomes part of the new norm, and I think we're starting to see the beginning of it, is making self-care a priority. Self-care a priority for ourselves, and us encouraging others to make self-care a priority for themselves. Taking care of ourselves. I know that sounds weird, but if you think about it, over the last few decades, we've really prioritized, positively reinforced, sometimes required the exact opposite. We spotlight those that self-sacrifice. We talk about how we gotta work, grind, go. Put everybody else in front of you, despite all odds. Keep going. Where in that rhetoric, where in that narrative do we prioritize self? When I say self-care, I mean both physically, our health, and mentally, our health. I'm talking mind, body, soul, taking care of ourselves first, which I think, guys, over the last few decades has been, if not totally lost, lower on the value system or priority list. And I think we're seeing that shift. My hope is self-care gets back to the top. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your health. You got to make sure health isn't just a priority, it's the priority. It's not just a should, it's a must. And it's not just then or now, it's forever. Because we got to take care of ourselves first so we can be a light for others. You can't pour from an empty cup. You got to fill your cup up so that way you can pour into others. And I think we're seeing that shift right now as people are reflecting as we're getting this crazy wake-up call that, yeah, well, without health, we have nothing. Isn't it ironic that we got to be put in a position where our own health isn't even about us? Taking care of our health is now a requirement to help each other. It's interesting that putting us in a situation where our health has to be taken seriously for the sake of others is what it takes to take our own health seriously. I hope self-care repositions itself, right? Self-love, maybe a better way to call it, as a priority. Number 2, I hope family and community get restored on the level of importance they should have. You guys, family is the unit. Without it, what else do you have? You know, it's been in a situation, again, it might be going on decades now, where the family unit hasn't been respected, hasn't been prioritized. And one of my hopes, as we reevaluate what's important to us during this time, is that family finds its place back into our value system, and community, as in our relationships with each other and the importance they have, prioritizing relationships and friendships and people you care about. You guys, I read a study a little while back. It's a study on happiness, and it tracked a population of people for a long period of time. And in fact, it's one of the longest studies ever done in psychology, tracked over decades. Do you realize the people that were the happiest later in life, they had all kinds of different things that were unique or different backgrounds, parts of the world, professions, personalities, results, economic statuses, all these different variables. But the one common factor the study found in people that were happiest is they had real relationships, people that they were close to, that they cared about and cared for them. And isn't it ironic that it wasn't about the things they owned or what title they had or how many digits in the bank account? It came down to real community. They kept people going and made people happy. Maybe that finds its way back on the value system. Number 3, how about appreciation for what we actually have for a shift in value? Now you might say, well, Blake, what are you talking about? I appreciate what I have. Guys, we've been stuck in a system, again, for a while now, where we value, always more. It's the more mentality. We want something until we got it. Once we have it, we no longer want it. And we want something more, and we strive for it until we get it. And then once we have it, it doesn't have the value that it had when we didn't have it, so we go for something more. And we get stuck in this materialistic circle of things and objects, and us chasing the Joneses, us constantly comparing, us constantly playing the game in our head of, when I get this, then I'll be happy. When this happens, then I'll be happy. Once I get to here, then I'll be happy. Realizing that that's a never-ending treadmill. There is no finish line. So maybe this, and my hope, is this time helps restore the value of appreciating what we have currently, which is more than we ever need. And the majority of you watching this right now, just by the sheer sake that you're able to watch this right now, you have the time, the technology, the device, the willingness. I'm willing to bet that means we already have everything we need. So maybe we'll store a little bit of appreciation, get some gratitude back into the value system. You guys tell me, what values would you want to see into the new norm? I'll give you 2 more. How about unity? I think one of the great things we're seeing right now is that, I don't know, for the first time in my life, maybe for the first time in history, we are unifying together as a human population. You guys, when you go out through history and they use the comparisons of when we've gone through crisis and challenge and obstacles of this magnitude, it's usually because we were fighting each other. I guess it's interesting that, hey, when we have a mutual enemy, in this case a virus, we can stop focusing on fighting one another and actually unify to fight a greater problem. How do you make all your problems go away? Find a bigger problem. It's interesting that we have a really big problem right now, and all the problems, well, not all, but many of the problems we had with one another are at least on pause. Maybe we can learn something from that, and maybe unity becomes a value of the new norm. Again, an irony that in a time where arguably we're more physically divided, 6 feet, we might be more united than we've ever been before. And I hope that that gets carried on into the new norm. Last one I'll say, because I'm almost at the top of the hill. Faith. Where does faith come into our value system in the new norm? So you guys, when I say faith, we have to have our belief that what's happening right now is not happening to us. That's usually the first tendency, is to believe whatever's happening is happening to us. Morning. Why is this happening to me? A lot of questions. I think we have to make a shift. Faith is shifting from asking, why is this happening to me, to how is this happening for me? Guys, I believe we're in the middle of a miracle right now. Some of you guys might say, Blake, how can you even say that? In the middle of a miracle? This is disaster. People are hurting, getting sick, uncertainty. That's all true. But I still believe we're in the middle of a miracle right now. Right now, we got people banding together. We got people finding solutions. We're solving problems. We got companies innovating, adapting. We got people and organizations stepping up without being mandated by a government or a bill because of sincere care. We got people uniting to find solutions. We got heroes every day on the front lines. We got heroes every day being voices of good. Guys, there's a miracle happening right now. And I don't want to minimize the real risk and real challenge and real obstacles. But I also don't want to minimize the miracle that we're in the middle of. And you guys, that's the difference between faith and not faith. Why is this happening to me? To how is this happening for me? And ultimately, I think faith goes another step, and it's not even about how is this happening for me, but it's what can be done through me. And realizing that, yeah, we are given certain situations, sometimes bad, sometimes good. Sometimes we ask for them, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we want them, sometimes not. And we say, how can we use the gifts that we were given to be a vehicle, to be a messenger? And how can that go through me to impact others? You guys, to me, that's faith. And we need that now more than ever. And my hope is when we bring that value system back to the top and make that a part of the new norm. Self-care, self-love, family and community. Unity and unifying. Appreciation for what we have. And faith. That would be my hope for some of the value shifts that maybe restore where they belong in our priority list. When? In the new normal. What would you guys add? Give me your hopes, give me your thoughts, give me your feedback below. There's no question right now we're in the middle of writing a new normal. Some of the adjustments might be short term, right? That we have to make right now for the new normal today and the new normal next week and the new normal next month. But some of the adjustments, make no mistake about it, guys, are going to be a new normal for everything going forward. This will be an imprint on the pages of all of our history books. And we're writing it right now. What do you want to make part of the new normal. You guys, it's definitely true. Things will never be as they once were. But who says that things can't be better than they ever were? And that's the opportunity in the middle of the obstacle. Let me guys know your comments. I'm getting back to the house. Big day ahead. Let me know if you have any thoughts on your new normal for the short term or your new normal and hopes for the long term. Hey, if you got value from this, drop a comment below. If someone comes to your mind or your heart, if you want to share, feel free to give them a tag or press the share button so we can get as many people participating in designing the new normal we'll all be happy to be a part of in the future. Love you guys. Have a great day.